Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, Rodney, it's good to be able to finally meet you.
You too, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate this.
Yes, your bandmate oh goodness, lost John. Sorry. He's probably played I've probably had
Uh-huh.
John's probably been on maybe five times in the last 5 years. We've
Oh,
gone
wow, really?
yeah. Yeah, so I've had John
That
many
should be
times.
that should be that should be a record, huh?
Yeah, yeah. He's even helped me co-host when we did our countdown of our top 10 favorite songs by Troop.
Okay.
He was a special guest as well.
Okay.
So yeah. But anyway, it's good to finally get to meet you. Um
Thank you, man. You
y-
too.
yes. So we generally have an international audience. I'm here in the UK, people from around the world. I'm always like to start off to find out where you were sort of born and raised.
Okay. I was born in a place called Muncie, Indiana. I was
Okay.
born there, but I wasn't raised there at all. I wasn't raised there. I left there when I was about three years old, and I came to California. So I was raised here, but I was born in Muncie, Indiana.
Okay. Okay. As soon as you said Indiana, I'm thinking, I thought Troop were all from Pasadena, but then now you explain that you moved out when you were very young, so I can imagine that's your sort of your memories would be California.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a California guy, man. I'm not an Indiana
Okay.
guy. I'm California.
Okay. What was it like just right growing up in California as a kid?
Well, that's an interesting question because as what I can remember is that when I start getting a little older, maybe five, six, seven, I just remember being in California. So I have no memory of Indiana at all. Only when I visit. But when I was here, I just thought it was normal. Like the neighbors I met, the people I play sports with, et cetera, et cetera. My friends, it was just kind of normal because I thought I was from here until I got a little older and found out that I wasn't. So it was like normal. I thought I was from here, man. I really did. I wasn't disappointed when I found out, but I really thought I was born here.
Okay. I'm just going to hold on one second. Okay, so no, okay, yeah, so Rodney, yeah, it's okay, I was just asking really about what part of California did you move to from Indiana? Oh, sorry, you just went mute. Oh, sorry, you just
Can you hear
yeah,
me?
yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I was just saying, what part of California did you move to?
Pasadena, California, which is like 25 minutes from Los Angeles. Pasadena,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And so, what was it? I mean, Pasadena, for those who might know, it has a massive stadium where they did the Super Bowl, goodness,
Yes.
in 2019, 1993, was it 90, yes, 93, Michael Jackson did the amazing Super Bowl, and you do something called the Rose Bowl. So what was it like moving to Pasadena from Indiana?
Well, I think my mom was well, she's the one that started this whole troop thing, if you know her or not. She and I started it. So that's like my best friend right now. But she was just looking for something better. She was a young lady and she wanted to get out of Muncie and find something better. And California was her calling. And she came here and it all started, man.
Okay, okay. I mean, so as I said, when you started, I mean, I'm sure you moved when you were three, so it's not easy to remember what life was like before that. But what kind of what can you remember of your childhood? Whether you decided to be a football player, basketball player, when or if music became the first calling for you.
Wow. Okay. I do remember that. because I
Okay.
wanted to play sports, and and it wasn't one sport. It was boxing, it was football, basketball, gymnastics, track. I wanted to play sports, so it all changed when New Edition came out, man. When they came out and they were young, I was like, wow, what the hell? Excuse my language. What are they doing? What are they
Wow.
doing? And do you remember a show called Putting on the Hits?
No, I was in the UK, so I didn't get to see that, but okay.
Well, it was it was like a talent search, like an American Idol type of thing, but
Oh,
lip
like Star
syncing.
Search and
You lip
stuff?
sync. So yeah, yeah, but it was lip sync. So I went on there with my group, which is a whole nother group. It wasn't John, Allen, and Steve. It was me, Reggie, Skeeter, Atron, and Stewart. There was a whole different group that went on there, and we won. We won the prize, and I think that's and we did Cool It Now by New Edition, Cool It
Wow.
Now, and I think that's when I said, okay, this is a little special than the sports for me. For me, it was a little bit more special than sports, and that's when I changed my mind right then and there.
Did
Yep.
you, at that point in time, were you guys, because I know in addition you had to cool it down. I mean, that also was massive in the UK, as a little black kid, me watching these kids who looked like me and my age and stuff. But did you, at that point, were you doing the dance move or just singing to the song, just lip singing to the song, or how did you guys perform?
Well, we lip synced to the song, but we made our own dance moves up. We made our own. We didn't copy no audition. We did our own moves, and we dressed our own way. And that started, man. That started everything right there because we didn't want to. We already knew that no audition was out, so we wasn't going to be exactly like them. We just
Yeah.
wanted to be a little different. I'm talking about on putting on the hits. So we dressed different and made our steps up, man. And came on out, and we messed around and won, man.
Wow. Do you remember how old you were around this time?
Maybe 14, 15.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
after the success, what, how, what sparked you to think to go forward with this, to try and actually take it more serious?
Well, we had got a call from this guy named Greg Perret, and he basically said, if you guys can sing, I can probably make you guys famous, possibly. So I
What?
knew we wasn't singers, man. I wasn't gonna. Yeah, he liked the show. He loved what we was doing.
Okay.
So I knew we wasn't singers. I knew that. So I just went on a mission and start finding guys that can really sing, like Steve Russell, Alan McNeil, and John Harrell. I went to them and asked them, "Hey, you want to be in my group?" They already knew of me from going on the TV show, so I was already like popular in the
Okay.
TV show. So when the guy contacted us, and I got like really kind of nervous, like, oh man, what am I going to do now? You mess around, like it's like this. You go do something, and then it turns into something else, and then that turns into something else, and all along you wasn't meaning it. You wasn't meaning and prepared to go
Yeah.
to the next level. It was just fun right then and there. But it started going different levels, and I just went and kind of picked the guys. I knew Steve was doing. He was really good at dancing and imitating Michael Jackson. And John can do anything to me. John can do anything, man, just anything. And Alan was a good singer. And me and Reggie, the one that passed away,
Yeah, yeah.
Reggie, we're the only we're the only two originals that from the TV show Putting on the Heads. We're the only two originals that started Troop and went on to be successful in Troop. Me and Reggie was the only two guys. The other guys came along after the show. After some guy was interested in this, then that's when Steve and Alan and John came in.
So why did you decide not to keep the work, the five who were on TV? Why didn't the five of you just go ahead and meet up with the guy?
It wasn't no singing going on, man. It wasn't
Okay, so none of them could sing.
not to start a group. No, no, not at all. Nah.
Oh, oh,
So I went on.
okay.
I used my brain. I started using my brain, man, and I just went on a mission, and I got them together. But the other guys, The other three guys knew they already knew that they didn't want to go any further than that. They wasn't interested. So it was not a
Uh,
problem to go pick other members. It wasn't a problem because they wasn't interested in it all. But we wasn't a singing group, man. We was more like a lip sync group back
yeah,
then.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
had to
yeah.
change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I think I remember doing something like that in college. It was easy to lip sync or when Kid and Play doing a thing, you could dance, do the
Yeah,
moves, but you can't really do the rap. But okay, so yeah, yeah, as
right.
entertainers.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
and so
Strictly entertaining, just
y-
huh? Excuse me.
yeah, 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 yeah. That yes, and just being able to entertain and stuff, being able to lip sync and people believing that it's true, but not actually sing.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, but come to think of it, if you think about Mini Vanilli, you guys could have easily have just said, "Hey, man, we could have been the first Mini Vanilli and just lip sync our way to a record deal."
Well, I don't know if I knew it was possible, I probably would have tried it.
Yeah. Um, but did you were you but with John, Reggie and Alan, were they did you already know them before you went on the show, or did you just have to start did you have to put up ads, or how did you connect with the three of them?
No, I knew him from high school. I knew him from school, from junior high as well, and I knew that they were talented because they would always do talent shows and things like that. So I already
Okay.
knew that they were talented. It's just that when the time came, then I approached them. But yeah, I already knew. I knew they were talented already. Yeah.
Okay. How hard was it to get them to convince them to join your group?
No problem. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because after that show I did, I was a little popular, man. I was kind of like the it thing a little bit. So they had no problem joining me. They had no problem joining me because it was already like I had went on this TV show. Me and my mom put it all together, so they knew I had something, some kind of brain towards the industry. They knew something, so I don't think it was a problem at all. I think they was like, oh yeah, yeah, this guy then went a little past all the high schoolers, all the junior highs. I kind of went above them by going on the TV show, so it was kind of
Okay.
easy for them to say yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it was easy.
And you've mentioned it twice about your mom involved. I mean, was it something that she saw that was that okay, you could do something here and put her support behind it, or did you have to convince your mom to help support you?
No, she almost had to convince me, man. I was yeah, that's how that went. She almost convinced me to do it because I would always just dance around the house and singing, which I wasn't trying to sing to be in a group. I just had something in me, and I
Hmm.
would just sing and dance. And she noticed it. And when she noticed it, she said, "You should do something with that." And that's when she actually called, putting on the hits to set an audition up. She did
Wow.
all the work. She did all that. Yeah,
Wow.
yep. And then this is funny. Now, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. She came to my school, man. I think I was in the ninth grade, and she said, "You have auditions to go and put on the hits." And I was like, "That's impossible because I don't have a group. I didn't have a group there, man. I did not have a group there, so I had to rush and get the first group and practice to be able to make it on putting on the hits." But she came to my school and told me, "Man, that you have auditions," and I went on from there, bro. That was it. But my mom had hooked everything up. She was
Wow.
doing everything as a manager, as a manager. Yeah, my
Okay.
mom, Jean, Shirley Jean.
I think we know it's the history of some moms in the music industry. Shanice
Yeah,
credits her mom.
yeah,
We also have
yeah,
Brandy crediting her mom. Tevin Campbell that's crediting his mom. Um, Ashanti. So there's a lot of powerful moms who've been behind their children's success and stuff. Um,
yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
wow. And did that make what difference does it make when you have a parent being able to see the vision before you did? and try and guide you through that? What difference do you think it made?
The difference that it made was I didn't have to wonder at that time. I didn't have to wonder anymore. I didn't have to keep searching. It was right there. She believed in me. And if she said I can do it, I said, yeah, I can. Yeah, yeah, I can do it. So it was like right there. It was right there having her as the manager and the founder. It was just in my face. So I had nowhere else to look. I had nowhere else to go. It was right there. So it kind of made it easy. I mean, it was a lot of work, but as far as mental, it was easy mentally
Mm,
because of my mom was right there and believe.
mm. What about the name of the group? How did that then, how did you change it from the name that you used to audition on the TV show to where we are now in Troop?
Well, we was called Five of a Kind for a little bit. The first group, we had a couple different names that didn't stick, but when 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 we okay, this goes from changing the group to changing the name of the group to having a record deal now,
Okay.
and things got to get better. Names got to get better, and everything got to get better. And Atlantic Records wasn't really down with the names that we had. We had a few names, but they didn't like them. So I think our record was coming out in a week or two. Mama Sita was coming out, and we didn't have a name, no
Oh,
name
oh,
at all. So yeah,
okay.
so we sat around the group and Atlantic Records. I think was all on what they called it back a conference call, and we named over 100 names until Troop came out. I think Steve Russell said Troop, and we knew what it meant. Troop is like a troop of guys that's in sync, and that's
Mm,
what we were. That's how we were dancing. That's how we were dancing. A group of guys in sync. So Troop just made sense. So when he said that, the record company didn't say much. The group didn't say much. It was almost like that's it, that's it,
okay.
and it was done after that.
Okay. Okay. So we got to the name, but before we get to the name then, how when yourself, Reggie, Alan, Steve and John just sort of started the direction of the group, how did that take shape? Because if we think about it, I mean, we've had many debates about the difference between Troop and New Edition, you um, and we know that New Edition, Brooke Payne got them to be like Temptation, so they did those steps and learned to perform that way. But I always remember growing up and thinking Troop were dancers who could sing. That's how
Yeah.
much your dancing was just on another level, and that the fact you could sing. While other times you get singers who could dance, but it was almost that you guys were dancers and you could
Yeah.
sing. How did that shift of okay,
Uh,
now we are heroes and idols of New Edition, but we're going to be different than New Edition? What was before you got to Atlantic, before you got signed?
um, I think Steve had mentioned to me because Steve is like I said, Steve is a good dancer, and he had mentioned that we need to find another way of dancing. We need to come out totally different. And the fact that all five of us did street dances, all the street dances that was out, the troop dance, the RoboCop, the Running Man, all them dances was out. So easy. Let's do street dances and make them steps instead of making steps. Let's do street dancing and making steps. And once again, man, I mean, I hate to keep saying this, but the process was just like easy because it wasn't nothing was easy. But when you try to change things and it fits in, it's kind of easy making the change because we were already street dancers. We didn't have to go find and look. It was already let's just do the RoboCop. Let's do the troop. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it made us different, man. We didn't bring a lot of steps, which is nothing wrong with step. No addition, temptation, nothing wrong with it. But we want to dance instead of stepping. So that changes all the way for us right there by changing stepping to dancing.
How much were you influenced by the breaking, the Tobo Ozone? We had that scene that came out that was quite a different than what was happening in New York. How much did that influence how you guys started off?
Well, okay, you think about it. Think about it. If you see that clip, and you think I'm in a group, I sing. What if we did that move, those moves that on the street like that? What if we did that? And it just made sense because nobody was doing it. I mean, Michael Jackson did it a little bit. But he still was doing a lot of choreography steps. He still, Janet Jackson was doing some street dancing, but we just wanted to take it a little further and a little more dirtier, man. A little, just get
Mm,
down in it now. Let's just get down. And when to answer your question, when we watched that scene, we just said, what if we did that? Not just as what he did, but what if we did that style of dancing in a group? And it would blow people away. They would say, "Wow, we've never seen this. Who are these guys? Where they come from?" And it just worked. It worked, man. From just keeping it street. That's what we did, and that worked for us.
okay. So when you got the five of them, did you go back to the guy who called you up? Did you go back to him to say, okay, we've got a five group who can sing? What did he say and do?
Well, that's crazy because his name was Greg Perret, like I said, and he had turned us over to a guy named David Cook, and David Cook had became our manager. So we had nothing else to do with Greg Perret after that. Nothing. I think
Oh,
he was going through some divorce type of thing. You know, he was going through something. It was kind of hard on him. Well, if I can remember. And by the time we got with David Cook, I think David Cook told him thank you. But we were done with him at the time. We were already with David, and we went on. David managed our careers until we became who we were. And Greg Perret, we thank him now. We thank Greg Perret, but he couldn't really do anything at the time, man. So we didn't really communicate with him anymore. It was over.
okay. So then, if David Cook meets up with you guys, what does your mom do? Does she take a back seat, or what is that? What happens?
Well, I mean, to make a long story short, yeah, but for a reason, but yeah, um, she got us to a place where she can take us. She got us where we needed to be seen. She
Hmm.
got us where we were ready, and that was probably with her and all and the group members. That's all we knew. We didn't know how to go further. We didn't know anything about going further than what we had did. We beat all the talent shows. We did all the talent shows. We did the beauty pageants. We did so much stuff. That was all we knew. So it was nothing else we can do. So when David Cook met us, and my mom was very cool with it, she just basically said, "Take care of my boys and make them successful." So that's how my mama actually took a back seat because it was basically time for us to go on another level, and we all didn't know how. We didn't know how to do that until David Cook came in.
Wow. Now, and as I said, when David comes in, does he, like most managers that we see on TV and hear about, come with a big contract and says, "Okay, guys, I'm going to make you rich. Sign here." And
Not at first, not quickly, but after a month or so. After a month or so, then yeah. But at first, when he first came, we were like we were like little kids, man. As soon as he put his foot in the door, we would stood up and we ready. My mama said, "Sit down, slow down, let the man get comfortable." As soon as he put his foot in the door, we jumped up. We were ready. And so when David met us, we were ready, man. We were ready. Honestly, all we had to do was just polish up and find a record company and do a showcase. That's all we had to do. We didn't have to practice and make sure we was right on time and a harmony. We didn't have to do that. We already been practicing for the last 2 years. So when David
okay,
came, he was kind of lucky. Yeah, Dave was kind of lucky, to be honest. Yeah.
okay. So at this point, then you guys are pretty much vocally and you got your routine out. But I guess the understanding the industry, the business side. Was that part of the education at the beginning, or you guys were focusing on the talent?
Uh-huh. Yeah, because when you don't know something, you don't even know how to talk about it. You don't know it. So we wasn't focused on that part and the business part. We just focused on being the best.
Mm.
First, let's be the best, and we're gonna give honor to being in the group. We're gonna honor our group, and we're gonna stick to it, and we're gonna be the best first, because that's what we was about. We didn't know nothing about any record deals or contracts or what this word meant or what that word meant. We didn't know nothing about that, man. So we honored the group, and we just wanted to be a great group first, and that's just how that went.
And so was it David's job to try and shop you around to the different labels to see who would be interested in signing you guys?
Yeah, yeah, and a couple of them said no. I don't remember who said it. I don't remember, but a couple of them said no, and we found Atlantic Records, and they said yes after we did the showcase and all this, and they heard all the demos and everything. Then they said yeah, they said we can work this, and that's how we got to Atlantic Records, man. But it was because of David Cook, though. Yeah.
Okay. Did the demos then, if we just get to the demos, who did the demos, like the writing and the producing?
Well, David would hook us up with different producers and writers, and we would just get with them, go to the studio, and do the song that they had for us. But we wasn't writing right then and there. We was not writing the demos. We
Okay.
probably tried one or two, but no, we wasn't writing the demos. Every time we went, there was a song done, and we had to learn it. And we had to like it. Number one, we had to like it first,
Mm.
and we learned it and we did it, and that's how we were doing the demos through our manager. David Cook was hooking it all up for us, man.
Okay. Okay. I, and I guess, I know that we talk a lot about the industry and how, people who know about the industry take advantage of new artists who don't know anything about the industry. But when you think of the role of the manager, um, to make sure you're polished, knock on the door to get the meetings, get the demos. I would assume that this is
Uh-huh.
coming out of his pocket. He's having to pay for studio time and pay the producers. He's having to knock on the door, all the contacts in order to get you in the door. Is that correct?
Well, now I've been in the industry a while, and I'm older, and yes, it had to be. Oh yes, yes, he had to be paying, or maybe they was doing him favors, and he maybe gave them a point off some kind of budget or something. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that it went down where they wanted something, and they did receive something at some time. But at the time, I'm just thinking we just go into the studio, man, just not even thinking about this is time, this is money, this is somebody's valuable time. I wasn't thinking like that, man. But now you bring it up, yes, I'm pretty sure he did everything out of his own pocket, because we never said here's some money, here's for studio. We never said it, so it had to come from him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also the fact the connections, to get to know the producers, writers, to start getting the auditions. I mean, I think I almost like I'm you know being able to take a step back and understand, actually, unless if you had an uncle or a parent who works in a label. Jermaine Dupri's dad was a VP at Sony at Columbia, so it's easy for him to get his son in the door, teach him the business, and set it up. But when you're coming from no connections, you need somebody who knows how to get in the door to do that. So I can appreciate this for the first time, the role of the manager when it comes to on-sign talent and stuff. Because it's not easy to not just get the audition, but to try and convince Sylvia Rowan, give them a chance. I promise you,
Yes.
you won't regret it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 And he did it. He stuck to his word. It's like both teams stuck to their word. We were going to be the best that we can be, and he was going to promise us he'd get us a deal. And it went together, man. He like I didn't know who he knew at the time. I didn't know anything. I just like when he came to us. I liked his attitude and the way he talked, and the way and how confident he was. But I didn't know who the guy knew. I didn't know he knew anybody that had studios, but he knew something. He knew a little bit of something. So he used it, and like you said, we didn't have nobody in the industry that was already working in the industry, that did any kind of music in the industry, nothing like that. I don't even think David Cook was even that big in the industry. I think he just knew a few people. So from manager to the group, it was all from ground up,
Wow.
everything. No, it wasn't nobody lifting, extending their hand and pulling us in. We had to fight for everything, man. Yep.
Yeah. And Atlantic was Sylvia, the famous Sylvia Rone. Was she, did you audition for
Yep.
her or somebody else?
No, she came and then she wanted her buddy Merlin Bob. That was her sidekick, Merlin Bob. Yeah, rest in peace, Merlin.
Oh,
Um,
that's
she brought him back for a second. Yeah, she brought him back for a second audition, showcase, and we turned it out again. We turned it out. We rocked hard. First time we rocked hard for one. Then both of them came out, and when both of them came, that's when it said, "Yeah, we're gonna sign you guys." Oh yes, definitely.
wow. Okay.
Yep. And they flew out here. They came from New York to LA to watch us. They came all the way from New York, man, to see us. So that was like a big deal, you know?
Wow. I mean, I mean, from the time when you got the call from Greg to the time when you got signed to Sylvia, how long was that time?
Well, let me see. I'm gonna say I might be wrong, but I'm gonna say about 2 years,
Okay.
maybe, maybe about
Okay.
2 years. Yeah, yeah,
So during that time, then, are you guys still going to school, or what are you, while you're rehearsing and practicing, or what are you doing in that 2 years time frame?
yeah. We were going to school, and then we just come home every day after school and practice and practice and practice. Then we go to school, and we'll come home and practice and practice and practice, and we just kept doing that, man, until school was out for us. And about about time school, the 12th grade, when it was time for us to graduate, we already had a deal. We wasn't out yet, but we already had the deal.
Okay, okay. No one was thinking
Yeah.
about going to college or anything like that.
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. It was one. No, it was one thing we had to do was get a group out. We had to do that no matter. It was no for an answer. No, no, no. All yes. All no maybes. No ifs. It had to happen. So yeah. So nothing else was nothing else. If anybody ever wants to do anything, like I said, I play sports. But if anybody wanted to do anything, it was all dropped. Everything was dropped because we had to do it.
So,
Yeah.
so when you guys get okay, so you guys get signed. Then who takes over making the album? Who's like, okay, here are the producers and stuff. Is David still involved, or is that stuff that
Yes.
Atlantic decide the producers and the songs and everything?
Well, I think the majority was the record company. I think the majority, but I know David had some input in that, and like I said, he knew people already from studios. He already knew something, so he had a couple people come in and. But the Atlantic Records kind of ran it first. They ran it. They knew, like the first single was Joe Levert and Mark Gordon from Levert, which they were signed to Atlantic too.
Oh yeah,
And I
yes,
think that
yes, yeah.
came with yeah, we had Dallas Austin and Joyce Irby from Climax, but that was all Atlantic Records doing that for us. Chucky Booker, Atlantic. So Atlantic was kind of running it, yeah.
Okay, okay. So if we go to the first album, then the Troop album, because you had Mamacita, My Heart, Still in Love as the first three singles that came out. But you did work with Levert, Chucky, um, and and a few other producers. What was the sort of? It's a different thing now. Okay, you're now signed, and your great performance. But now going into the studio, who do you think was the first? Can you remember the first producers that you worked on, or the first song you worked on?
Um, the first song, wow, because Mamacita wasn't the first recording. That was the first single, but the first song was I want to say Brown Mark Brown from Revolution, Prince and Revolution.
Okay. Um,
I think when our first recording was with Brown Mark. Yeah.
with Brown Mark, was that Happy Relationship or the
Yes,
song?
yes, yeah, 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 yeah. You're right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And so, okay. And I just wonder what was, I mean, you did that, you've gone in the studios to do demos, but now that you're signed, is there different pressure when you're in the studio to get it right and to follow the directions?
Individually, I think everybody handled it different. I was a tad intimidated at the time because wow, we look at this. But you got to remember, it was when I first started. It was for fun. It was for fun,
Yeah.
and it kept getting more serious, more serious, more serious. So it kind of blew me away at first. I can't answer for the other fellas, but yeah, it was like, wow, this is getting serious now. We going to people's homes and these people that have been around the world and they sing with Prince. And now we're in his home in his home studio doing a record. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. But the we no, nobody ever bent. We never bent. We didn't fall off. We handled it. If it got hard, if it got stressful, we just handled it. We handled it the best way we could. And sometimes that'll be, you know, you go do a little bit more, John, or Steve, you go a little more, or Alan, whatever it took, we handled it. Whatever we had never had no background singers come in, none of that. It was all the group. Even if somebody did a little bit more, but we made sure we did it. We handled it. I don't care what it was. We handled it, bro.
Yeah. Because I mentioned you worked with Mark and Gerald, you worked with Chucky, and I wanted to know who do you think was the set of producers that you first worked with on the debut album that you felt starstruck? Levert had Casanova, Chucky had, was big. I mean, who did you think and says, man, I can't believe we're in the studio with them?
But okay, I'm gonna give it to you like this. I really like at that time everything was just a little bit above me at the time, and I really didn't stop to trip off of it. I didn't, but when I do remember the one that really made me remember and made me comfortable, it was Chucky. It was Chucky. He was so normal. He was only a couple of years older than me, and he can play every instrument, sing, write. I'm like this. Wow. Well, who is this cat, man? And he had no problem with me going in there doing it a few times until I got the jitters out. He had no problem with that. So who I remember really is Chucky, man, because he just was so down to earth, and he was not that older than me, and he could do almost anything. So Chucky kind of blew my mind first. What Chucky did.
Okay, okay. I would say Chucky's one of my favorite guests, and he did. He spoke about having to pick Steve up from school to come finish up some of the parts of the
Yeah, yeah,
records. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
but also, I've interviewed Mark Gordon and from the Vert. I mean, what was it like working with them, knowing that they had done Casanova and they were, a big group as well? Gerald must. I don't know if he's a, he always looked like he was an old man, even when he was young. But what was it like being in the studio with Gerald and Mark?
Man, Gerald was, to me, he looked a little older because I thought that, and he wasn't that much older than me also. But he had the greatest personality, man. He had the greatest personality. He would laugh and he would just be happy and smiling all the time, man. That's all. What I remember from Gerald, he was just always happy, bro, just smiling, showing his teeth, just smiling all the time. It's like he had no. It was almost like he had no worries. No,
Wow.
what that's just what I picked up from when I was seen him a few times. I was around him. Gerald was just always a happy guy, man. Just he didn't make you. Now, one thing he would do if you wasn't doing your part right, he'd get on your butt. He'd get on you. Now he don't. He didn't play that. He didn't play that. But overall, he was just a happy, nice guy, man. Very nice, man.
Okay. And
Anybody would want to be around him. Anybody would love to be around him. Just the way he laughed and played and accepted you. Anybody would love to be around Gerald, man.
uh, but of all the songs you guys recorded, because you recorded well, you recorded 8 songs, and I think Mamacita was they had an extended mix, 8 songs. Did you have a favorite from the debut album that you thought, well, this is our best?
Okay, okay. Now let me think here. I think when I liked She's My Favorite Girl. Personally, I like the song. Even when we first heard it, and when I think Alan and his friend wrote the song. I can't really remember who wrote it, so you guys excuse me. But
No, it's Art
when I first
Summer
heard,
and Michael
uh,
Carpenter.
well, I, I I guess I don't remember. I
Okay,
really don't remember. I just know Alan has something to do with it, but he sung it. That's probably where I'm at. He sung it. That was Alan's song to sing.
okay.
So when I first heard it, I like the music. I like the lyrics. I like the melody, and I really did like that song because we were dancers. And then when it came to My Heart and all them other songs, there wasn't really dance tracks at the time. They wasn't really dancing. They were just good songs. So I like She's My Favorite Girl a lot, man. Until the other songs came out and kind of overtook She's My Favorite Girl really quick, really quick, really quick. But
No, but then also, what about, you had I know My Heart you guys performed. I still see the video on the Apollo, but Mamacita as the first single. Were you surprised that that was the first single?
yeah, because I'm gonna tell you why. Because not not understanding five black guys singing Mamacita. I just didn't know how that was going to go at the time. Didn't I just didn't know how it was going to go. So that was my only gripe. But I thought it was a good song. Thought it was really different. I never heard too many groups as black groups singing Mamacita. I never heard it. So I'm like this. Can everybody let me get used to it? I mean, it's different, man. It's different. Turned out to be another one. Turned out to be another where I said, okay, I'm sorry again. My bad
Yeah.
again, man.
I mean, it got to number 2 on the charts, which is amazing. I wonder, and this is 88, so 88 you had Guy, Tony, Keith Sweat. I mean, it was a big year, so to really, and even Heartbreak was out in 98, 88 too.
Yes, yes. And that was unbelievable because Billboard Hot 100 it went too, but it had some other charts, some other that it went number one. It went number one on some other things, but not the Billboard.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, it did. It did hit number one. It hit number one on some other charts, man. It did. Yes, it did. And it was amazing because everybody was out. Everybody was out, man. And I'm like, how did we do that? What the heck is going on here?
So,
We
because
did it, man.
if you think about it, your album came out in the summer of '88. As I said, summer of '88 is when we had Guy with Groove Me, we had Any
Yep.
Heartbreak. Bobby was still dominating the charts and stuff with his Don't Be Cruel album.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you, when you finally were on the charts with the group that inspired you, New Edition, because they were out at the same time with Any Heartbreak. Did it sink in that the people that you watched on TV now were competing with them on the charts with our album out the same time?
Yeah. it sunk in, and it sunk in so bad. I was wishing why they didn't wait 6 more months to drop their damn album. Why it had to come out at the same time as ours? Why? I said that so many times. So many times I said that. Why? One even 3 months later, but I'm almost within the next. I mean, like literally weeks apart, a month apart. Everybody's album came out. Everybody's album, and I always wondered, was that an industry thing? I never understood that, man. Why did everybody come out at the same time? And
Oh,
everybody got there. Everybody did good. But everybody did good. Everybody got the number ones, the number twos, the number threes. Everybody got it. And you got to remember, Hammer was out too. MC Hammer was out too.
oh. So Any Heartbreak came out June 20th, 88. Your album came out June
Yeah.
7th, 88. Wow, that's
Yes. Yes.
oh wow. So they didn't even give you guys space because and new oh man, that's because they oh man, because they had Is It Isn't Love and they had um they had Any Heartbreak, Crucial.
Yeah.
And they had history. So it
Can
wow
you
that
stand the line?
can you stand?
Look. And then they put Johnny Gill in the group, a great singer, a new member. It was just a lot, man, that we had to compete with, man. We really held our own.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. And okay, guys, so people watching. So Troop came out the 7th of June, 88. Guy came out the 14th of June, 88. And New Edition came out the following week in 88. In the month of June, these three albums all came out. So, oh goodness,
Yeah,
and you still had a number two song, but man,
yeah, yeah.
okay, okay.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize I didn't realize how challenging that could have been. To be going up against Groove Me,
Hmm.
to be going up
Yeah,
against Groove Me,
yeah,
and
exactly.
and to be going up against I think what New Edition first is It Isn't Love, you know, because that dropped on the same day as your
And
yeah. So, but
and I think Bobby Brown was around there too. I think he
yeah,
was around.
he was still,
I
yeah,
don't remember. Yeah, because he came out I think 88 with his Don't Be Cruel album. It was 88.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was. Let me see. Don't be. As we are
yeah.
crew, Bobby Brown. Um, the album came. Oh my goodness. No, this doesn't make sense. The Don't Be Cruel album came out the week after. Yeah, June 20th, 88. How? Oh goodness, that's wow. The month of June. I didn't realize June 88 was such a big month in Black history.
and that was and that's my birthday. June 6th is my birthday. One day before our album came
Wow.
out.
But to think that you guys made it through the month of June, but I mean, and the album was good, but Don't Be Cruel's was did over 10 million in the States. The Guy album
Yeah,
created a new genre of music, and then New Edition sort of
yeah, yeah,
solidified themselves after Bobby's success. So it
yes.
must have been. Um, but but going back to being around that time, did you see the competition and think, "Oh my goodness, we're in trouble," or did you just hope for the best, or did you even think about it? Did you have time to think about it?
To be honest, I really didn't think about the competition. I was just more excited off all the good songs that were out at the time. I just didn't really slow down and say, but we're competing. I was saying, wow, now if we had Groove Me, if we had Don't Be Cruel, whoa, that's what I was more on. If we had, you know, but I didn't ever trip off maybe the next year I started noticing that we were competing. But at first, I was just happy, man. Just happy that we were out. Just happy that we were doing it. That we were doing pretty good, and we were holding our own. So I wasn't even trying to cross over into. competing. I was just happy. I was just thankful that we were out, and I just took it in like that.
Yeah. Was there any comparison with New Edition when he came out with Mamacita when you were coming out with that debut album at the time? Did people say, "Oh, you guys are like New Edition"?
Well, a couple of times, and we replied, said, just wait until you see more songs and more dancing, and the different styles are different, and the different harmonies and the different leads. I said, you guys will see. But at first, yeah, they did say that. Yeah, they did say like no audition, and we felt like we wasn't nothing like them. Not even from Mamacita, nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. But people would say that. Yeah.
How do you think? How did the album? How did yourself and Atlantic feel like the debut album did they think it was a success, or were they disappointed with sales compared to what Bobby and New Edition and Guy were doing?
Well, it went past gold. So that was success right there for Atlantic Records and us. It went past gold, so that wasn't bad for '88.
Yeah.
You know, right now a gold record is still good, but for '88 it was really wonderful for a new group to compete with all those acts and go past gold. Yes, man, that was great. That was great success. Oh yeah,
Yes, as I said, you only released three singles. Um,
yeah.
did at this point then, you know, when did you guys start to even learn about the business? But by the time, or did you still, was it when you guys did Attitude that you started to read the business and things?
I think the second album, man, is when after all the tours, after all the videos, and meeting certain people and hanging around certain people, I think the second album is when business really started. Yeah, it
Okay.
started like serious. Which writers, Stephen Allen would want to write more. We would want a certain type of sound. Um, just even with paperwork, we want a different. And the second album, I can say that's when it started. Yeah.
Is it when you were making the second album or after it finished?
No, I think Dirt making it. I think
Okay.
making it. That's when it started. Yeah.
Looking at the timeline, I mean, it feels as if you guys went back. It feels as if you guys went back in the studio within a few months of the debut album coming out to start recording Attitude. That's six months.
Six months.
Okay, that
Yeah.
seems
Yep.
very. It
Yep.
seems very unusual to your first album is out and still releasing singles, and you're going back in to make another album. What was the reason behind that?
Well, I think with Atlantic Records and our manager, I think that it was to keep up with the guys, the Bobby Browns, New Edition, even Tony, they were doing great too.
Yeah, with the
Just to
Revival
keep
album.
up with it, yeah, to keep up with what was needed was a new sound right away, some hot dance tracks right away, and to get more into the sound. What was the sound now that Chuck that Teddy Riley started?
New Jack
New
Swing.
Jack.
Yeah.
We had to get we had to get a part of that right away. Like My Heart and Still in Love, great songs, but they wasn't at right at that moment they wasn't turning the corner to how music was turning. So we had to get right back in there because we had been successful off the new album, the first album. We had to get right in there and get on board, man. We had to get right
Wow.
back on board. So I think that's the reason why. I think that's the reason why we went in so quick.
Okay. Yeah. And the Attitude album for me was my favorite from you guys. And for the producers you had on this. on this album, you had Joe Serby with a young protege, Dallas Austin. You still had
Yeah,
Mark Godding and Levert. You had Chucky
yeah,
Booker, and it also seems as if you guys, well, Stephen and Alan were doing a little bit more writing on that album.
yeah, yes, yes. It wasn't a lot, but they had started. Yeah, they just had started writing on that album. Um, the group of producers we had at that time, I felt it was perfect for Troop, just from the demeanor to everything. It was just so perfect. Nobody really stood out like a sore thumb. Nobody did. No producers. No. It was just so perfect, man. It was, everything was lined up so perfect. Even when Stephen Allen had started writing, everything was just lined up perfect. Almost every song we liked. It wasn't too many songs we turned down. It wasn't a lot, not a lot. But it just went perfect, man. It's like what else can you say, man? It was so perfect, man. Like wow, we sometimes when stuff is so perfect, it kind of seems like it's easy, but it's
Mm.
not easy. But when it's perfect, what can you say?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it is my favorite Troop album. And I interviewed Joe Serby,
Uh
and
huh.
told her about my music and my love. Really enjoy,
Yeah.
and I'll always love you. Um,
Oh. Oh.
what do you remember of working with Joe Serby? Because she was, a trailblazer as a female producer coming from the classic group Climax. What do you remember being in the studio with Joyce?
Okay. Okay. You really want to know the truth? What I was thinking as a young guy, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was thinking one thing. There's one song that I love to go to the club and dance. Uh, Men are paused when I walk into the room. The men are paused. That's all I kept thinking. I ain't gonna even lie, man. That's all I kept thinking because I love the song so much, and I was amazed to see her and just like, wow, she actually got a song that one of my number one favorite songs in a day, and there
Wow.
she is. So I didn't go deep into all the talent, and I just love that I was around her, and she don't even know how many times I danced to that song. I danced to that song 100 times. That's where my mind was, man. Honestly, straight look at her. Again, all pause. That's the only thing I was thinking of. I promise, man.
Oh goodness. How did the when you were working on say my music, which is a nice New Jack track, d d does she come up and says, "Okay, we're going to do this," and or how do you remember working on in the studio how the music the production and the session went?
One particular song, my music, I remember, and the fellas probably get on me because I be wrong sometimes, but I know my music. She had, she kind of had us writing our own parts, plus her help, but she kind of had us kind of doing some writing a little bit on, cause we all had a part on my music. Everybody had a part.
Hmm.
But I think she was kind of like letting us do a little bit, and she was writing, and she was letting us do a little bit. I think she was just kind of teaching us at the time that this is what you're gonna need to do, fellas.
Wow.
Even though she was running it, but she still kind of let us do a couple of little writing lines here and there. Well, I can remember, yeah, she let us, and that was like for me, that was like wow. I mean, I got my first lead. I got my first little lead part, man. Like, because of Joyce was like everybody should have a part on my music. And that was
Wow.
my first time doing a lead, a little lead. I was kind of rapping, singing a little, and then really. But it was Joyce, man. I think she was teaching us that this is how it's going to be, and this is what you need to do instead of just always sit back waiting on people to deliver songs you can do yourself. And I think that really, really, really kicked it off right there when she was kind of letting us do little lines here and there. I do remember that. I do remember that from her. I remember that really, really good from her.
No, because it shows that yeah, even in the writing, you've got most of you guys credited, but I think that's that does show that because most producers seem to want to write and produce and get all the credit and publishing, and not or even just rely on the lead vocalist. Okay, Steve, Alan, you sing, everyone else background, and not give everyone a moment to shine.
Well, I think that's what she kind of did.
Yeah,
I believe and I think that was, and I think she done that because she was already in a band and
yeah,
she had already went through she already knew. She already knew. So I think she brought that along with her and used it with us, and it worked. That's what worked because I think it, even when her band, it was more than one singing. It was more than one, and plus they all had a role with playing their instrument. They all had a role.
yeah.
So I think she kind of put us in that little room right there, and we all had a part, man. We all had little parts, and then when it came to her, that was a deal breaker for me because like I said, I wasn't at the time. I was not a lead singer, man. I wasn't doing no lead, man. I just wanted to be in a group. And then you get with Joyce and keep talking about, and Joyce come in talking about you got a part. I'm like, what part? Like what part you talking about? So that helped me out a lot, though. I thank her for that. Great, great.
Okay. Well, I'm sure she will definitely see this, so not to worry. Um, what about, so I think one of your most classic songs on the album was working with Chucky again on Spread My Wings. What can you remember about that?
Whoa, man. What I can remember is that Chucky already had Turned Away out. So we wanted that song first. We wanted Turned Away. We wanted that.
Oh, that was
But
okay.
Atlantic Records and Chucky wasn't yeah. But Atlantic Records and Chucky, they wasn't giving us that song. They wasn't gonna give it to us, but we wanted it. We wanted it. So Steve Russell would basically sweat Chucky day and night, day and night. We need to know. We need a song like Turned Away. We need. Then he went in there and wrote Spread My Wings. And that's how that
Wow.
came about. Yeah.
When you heard it, did you think it was going to be a hit?
You know, when I answer these questions, man, they're so simple because I'm so simple. I didn't know. No, I didn't know. No, I didn't know. It's not that I didn't care. I just didn't understand what a hit was.
Mm,
Far as me, man, I knew a hit like before I got in the music game. I liked a certain song.
yeah.
I like songs, but now that I'm making a song, I didn't know what it took to make a hit. I didn't know at the time. So I'm just thinking, without being nonchalant, just I don't know, man. It's good. The harmonies are good. The music is good. Just that's far as I went, man. That's as far as I went back in the day.
I mean, yeah, I mean, because the album just, it just turned out a different type of a level of hit. So you had I'm Not Souped, Spread My Wings,
Yeah,
All I Do is Think of You, That's My
yeah,
Attitude, I'll Always Love You.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Even That's My Attitude. You had a Teddy Riley remix. And the previous year you were competing with Guy with Groove Me. And did they tell you that we're going to get Teddy to do a remix on I'm Not That's My Attitude?
Yes, they told us. And personally, before Teddy came, That's My Attitude was one of my favorite ones. Before Teddy did the remix, that was one of my favorite songs, man. Really, really, it was. So, sometimes you could be a little prejudiced sometimes by hearing something first and then hearing the remix, which it was dope, but I was so used to that one Gerald did. I just loved what Gerald did. And when I heard the remix, I said, "Oh, this got a little something to it. It's a little more in style with the new Jack. It's a little more in style."
Yeah.
But man, I really enjoyed the Gerald Levert. I enjoyed that. But what Teddy did was gave us a new avenue to dance on that. He gave us
Uh,
he opened up the street wider for us to dance like we like to dance. So that's one thing. That's one thing. What Teddy did. He gave us an avenue to really dance hard on that song, and really it made sense for how we danced and how the music was going. It just made a lot of sense. It made so much sense. So yeah, I enjoyed it. That was one of my favorite songs. Period. That's My Attitude was one of my favorite songs, man. Yeah,
I think one of the things
that
that
was.
one of the things that you guys, the reason why I said that you guys were dancers who could sing was that you were on a senior hall almost what five, six, seven times. I mean, it felt as if every time you had a
Yeah,
single,
yeah.
you guys would be out there, and then really, like from Spread My Wings, That's My Attitude, just doing a full-on show.
Uh-huh.
What do you remember about actually going on a senior? Did you have to practice and work hard before those shows to really knock it out?
Yeah, we did. We did practice hard, but it was something that was better than practicing hard. We had prepared ourselves as youngsters for this moment. We already was prepared to sing hard and to dance hard and to not get tired and to push on even if you are tired. We was already prepared from being young, from practicing. Like Allen Iverson say, practice. We practiced so much that when anything came up, we were ready. Any singing, any dancing, we were ready, man. We had practiced it, so it was just kind of like second nature, man.
And I guess for you guys then, because you were local, being in Southern California, it might have been easy to go on his show. He could call you up and says, "Hey, can you come on the show because we need a musical guest." Or was that ever the case? Because you were there, you did seven. I don't think. I think John was
Yeah,
saying
I
that you
know.
guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't know how easy it was for him to say come. I don't. I did. I wasn't in. I didn't get into that part. I don't know. I don't know how easy it was for him to find us, but we went on there a whole hell of a lot, though. I know we went on there a lot. So something. I don't.
Um, but by
But
89 then, because did you feel like this album gave you the muscle to compete with? Because Bobby was still doing his Don't Be Cruel, because this is a year after New Edition. We're still
still,
off
yep,
of Any Heartbreaking Guy.
yep.
We're still doing everything. Did you feel that this album gave you that extra push because you've got two albums within 2 years with a new set of songs?
Well, yeah, like I discussed it a minute ago, we had to compete with those fellas, which Bobby Brown, because that was his second album. He had a first album
Yeah, yeah, yes.
when he was
King of
a couple
States.
years younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, No Different had albums. Uh, Teddy Riley was already producing a lot of people even before he came out with
Yeah,
Guy. He
Make
was
It Last
doing
Forever, Keith
different things.
Sweats.
Yeah, yeah, Johnny Kemp and all that.
Hmm.
So we needed to do that. We had to do that. We had to catch up, man. We came out good, but just what I believe that we were a half step behind with the music.
Mm.
With the music was good, but was it was the music was turning. It was going another way right then and there. It was turning, and we had to 6 months. We had to get off of what we was on, which was nothing wrong with what we was on. But
Yeah.
we had to get on something else really quick to compete with these other big time bombers. We had to do that. So I think it was necessary for us to get off of it in 6 months and start one. It was necessary because we couldn't have last a year and a half with the Mamacita album. It,
Okay.
it wouldn't have lasted a year. Even though it was good music, so I don't want nobody to get it wrong. But as far as like stand in the times and keeping up with the new sound, we had to do an album quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things I observed when it came to R&B. was that there was a East Coast, West Coast bias, and it felt like West Coast R&B acts were not as respected, did not get the type of airplay nationally that you would get from the East Coast. So you had, you know, the Tonys out of the Bay Area. You had
Yeah.
you guys, Zulu. Um, um, I'm trying to think of R&B groups. So they're not many that you think of.
I think the boy wasn't the boys out.
Yeah, but they had the babyface sound. They had that Down My Heart. So, and I don't know if I think that became a big sort of pop hit because of how the Face did, even when the Whispers did their thing. So I think that type of music. But when we're talking about sort of like the
Yeah.
R&B that you guys were doing, so you think about you guys on the West Coast compared to New Edition on the East Coast, Boston, Guy from New York, there
Yeah.
is a different
Yeah.
appreciation. So they're calling Guy New Jack Swing harder, grittier music, and they're not as appreciative of West Coast music because I think a lot of the journalists, a lot of the music heavyweights were out of New York, and so they are sort of
Yeah.
dictating what's hot and what's not. So, did you ever think that you guys weren't able to, just because you're from the West Coast, you are at a disadvantage with your New York rivals? Because you had Uptown Records all in New York, all the big things from Jodeci, all the big black music was coming from the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I think I just think that the sound of it. That's all. I just think their sound was a little faster. They picked up on a new sound a little faster than the West Coast did. And my whole thing was just the sound. And as far as like radio play and all that, we got a lot of play, man. We got a lot of radio play. I know that for a fact. I was in too many cars and too many times I heard that dang on mama come on. Too many times, man. I just think that I think the East Coast had a jump on West Coast with just this new sound coming out.
Yeah.
That was my whole issue. I just needed some of that sound. I needed some of that sound over here. That was it.
Um, between the Attitude album and Deeper album was a very much of a New Jack album, and it's an album that's actually it is an album that actually mirrors the Bobby album. There's the elements of it, maybe because you had
Yeah.
Dimitri Ship as well, but it felt like,
Yeah.
okay, this was your. But the difference was that there was a 3 year gap between recording the two albums compared to the 1 year that you had before. Why was there delay in
Uh-huh.
doing Deeper?
I think a lot of things were changing mentally and with just different people wanted to do certain things, wanted certain things changed with managing and plus a little bit we wanted probably Atlantic Records to do a little bit more, pushes harder, pushes like Bobby, pushes like No Audition, pushes like Guy. We kind of wanted that. And we just kind of sat around, man, and just try to do the best album we can do. And it took a little longer than we thought. And then we had changed management. We changed management, and it just took a little bit longer than what we thought, man. And that's why I was a little gap in between there because we didn't know we didn't the group didn't understand. Somebody should have sat us down and said, no, you don't do this. No, 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 you don't do this right now. No, and nobody really had our back to teach us. People had our back to put us out and help with records and things, but I'm talking about to teach us. Nobody really was there to just say no, sit down, no. And then we didn't know what we was doing in that area, and took a little longer. Left our management, and that's what happened, man.
So is it when so it was did you on both the I know with Troop album and Attitude you still had David Clark as your manager
Yeah, we had David Cook, we had
with
him,
David Cook, yeah.
and during the during the deeper album, it's when it was getting a little dirty. It was getting dirty. The deeper album, and before that, and during it, it was just getting dirty. Even though we had David, but that was basically his last go around. Which when somebody's last go around, it's just not that much communication anymore. It's not that much trying your best anymore. I'm talking about with both ends, not just with one end, just both. And I think that was just a bad time to not be as one. It was just not a good time to not be as one as we used to be. It was just not a good time. So that's what happened, man.
Yeah, I think, I think when if I'm looking at the fact that you guys were in high school when you get signed and you didn't have people in the industry already, Jerry Revert had his dad who could always talk about, look, the industry, the business, the politics. You guys didn't have any of that. No one teaches you, okay, when you're gonna have number one singles and songs, um,
Right,
this is
right.
how to deal with fame and this is how to deal with money, how to pay your taxes. No one's teaching you. So I guess in hindsight, it's important to recognize that actually, if you're not from that environment, you're learning as you go along, and
Yep.
dealing with success and fame is not easy at all.
No, it's not. And I'm glad you said that because when you're not familiar with the ins and out of the business, if you're not familiar with it, you're gonna make some mistakes. You're gonna mess up. It's no way around it. There's no reason to complain about it. There's no reason to cry about it. It's going to happen if you don't know, and a lot of times you do know, and it still gets you. So I look at it like it's just a part of being in the industry. It's a part of it. It's nothing you can do, man, to change it. If you don't know, you're gonna get it. You're gonna
Yeah.
get it. And some people get it worse than some people.
I remember hearing an interview by the late DJ Clark Kent, who was
Yeah.
he was an A&R at Atlantic, and did he work on the Attitude album?
He did a remix to
Spread My
Spread My
Wings.
Wings.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah, I hope I'm right, man. But
yeah,
he did
yeah.
the
He
remix
did.
of
He,
Spread
he
My
did a
Wings.
remix. Yeah, but he was an executive at Atlantic, and
Uh-huh.
in the interview he said that when he was assigning a group and he noticed that the terms weren't great and that they didn't
Yeah,
know the business. And he spoke to his boss, Sylvia Rohn, to say, hey, these terms aren't great. And she said to him, look, it's not our business to teach the artist the business. We're the
yeah,
label. They need to know what they
yeah,
want and stuff. And he said that's how that's industry standard. And I felt, wow, everyone comes in hungry and excited, but doesn't understand the nature of the business. And unfortunately, there weren't people who are teaching them, who are saying, okay, this is how you do things and stuff like that. Um, and so that is unfortunate as well because the label know that, look, you're signing away your stuff, but hey, that's on you. We make our money making great music, and how you make your money, it's up to you. And that's unfair.
yeah,
So yeah, it's
yeah.
hard.
That's basically yes, yes, yes. But it comes with it. It comes with it. We can say 100 bad things. We can say 100 good things, and it just comes with it, man. That's just if you want to be an entertainer, you have to get ready to put your seatbelt on and hit a couple bumps. That's just how it is, straight out.
Yeah, but then also how does the relationship between the five of you by the time you get to Deep Album, because you've had all these success? how do you maintain the brotherhood to make sure? Because it's different when there's only two people or three, but when it's five
Well,
personalities, how do you maintain the brotherhood
I,
when by the third album?
I think because how we was raised and how my mom had helped put the group together and the things she would make us do stuff like she would go to the store and say, I want a step when I get back. You don't do steps that dang on quick. You don't do a step that quick. But she would put that in us and things like that made us stick together through all the bad times. Been some rough times, bro. I'm telling you, been some rough times. But by my mom making us be a brotherhood and be one and get it done, that kind of made us last through some junk. And it's once again the beginning. The beginning helped the end. That's how it went, man. If it wasn't for the beginning, I don't know about the end, bro. I don't know how it would have went. But because of my mom putting that in us, man, then that's what we always did from that day on. We always said we gotta do this. We gotta stick together. We gotta make this happen. We gotta do this. We gotta be sharp as a nail on this because of her. So that's where that came from.
Now, you mentioned that by the time you guys were doing the Deeper album, what we noticed is that Steve is getting a lot more involved in the writing and producing. Um, did you yourself try and get more writing, or was that stuff that you felt wasn't just in your strength, so you sort of left it, or how did that?
Well, with me, I wasn't. That wasn't my lane. That's not why I was put in a group at that moment. That's not what I was there for. I don't care who go right. I don't care who do what. Mine was to get most of the majority of the steps done. That's what I did. I did most of the choreography, and I started the group, and that's what I was focused on. I was focused on them two things. I wasn't focused on writing, producing, nothing. Just wanted to make sure my group was successful, no matter who wrote the songs, no matter who produced them, no matter who managed us. I just wanted my group to be successful. So I stayed in my lane. I wouldn't get out of my lane until it was time to, but I right. And then a lot of people would say, you can write a little bit, Rodney. You can sing a little bit. Yeah, okay, thanks. I'm not interested right now. I don't have to do everything quickly. I didn't have to.
Hmm.
So I wasn't interested in that stuff. I just wanted my group to be number one first.
Okay. I mean, looking back, do you think you would have done anything differently if now looking back?
No, no. I mean, I'll explain that. I'll explain it
Yeah, go ahead.
because everything I did, some of the not so good things, some of the good things, some of the decisions that wasn't so cool, all that got me right here today. Today I'm right here. I'm living. I'm doing a nice interview with you right now. If I would have took a left turn and started producing and doing other things, I don't know where I would be. And the reason why I say I would do the same thing because if I can go back in time and close my eyes, I would say, oh, okay, in the next 35 years, I'm gonna be talking, doing podcasts and living. I would pick that again. I wouldn't change it because I don't know where the hell I would be if I change it. I don't know what would happen. So I would not change it. No, I wouldn't. I'll do the same thing over again, the same exact way.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's definitely interesting to say. Um, the Deep album is for a lot of New Jack Swing fans, their favorite album. I would say my Attitude is
Oh,
my favorite Troops album, but a lot of people that I know, my good friend Stevie Street, it's probably one of his best albums ever. Um, what do you remember creating the Deep album? Because it felt like it was more of a storybook, a concept album, harder sounds. What do you remember from the album?
I thought the album was in I thought it was in style. How about can I say that? The album was in style to me. It was in Um, and when we started off with praise, the little interlude praise,
Yeah.
I thought that I thought we were very in style with that album, man. Just it had the beats to it. It had the nice slow song. It had the little gospel praise thing. I just thought that album was very up to date and in style. What was going on in the world with music? We were right there doing it. I mean, maybe it was maybe it sounded the same a little bit in some of the songs, kind of sound the same format,
Mm.
but I thought it was up to date. I thought it was really totally in style at the time. So I thought that was going to be like a really big banger for us. I really thought that album was going to kick hard, man.
What do you think went wrong that it didn't blow up as it should have in 92?
Just the problems with management and Atlantic Records and just wanting to grow as a group and different members, different people wanted to grow and wanted to learn more and wanted to get deeper into it, and it had stopped the 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 the, the young the innocent in you. Just I want to sing my heart. I want to sing Mamacita. I want that innocent was gone. It was gone when it came to deeper. It was gone, man, and it just we were turning to young men now. We wasn't 19-year-olds anymore. We were
Mm.
grown now, and it just changed. It's just and I accepted it because it changes. Some people take a change and they do really good with it. Some people take a change and don't do well with it, and it's nothing to argue about or try to change. It happens. The change happened with us, and at the same time, rap music was taking over right when we was coming out, right when Troop was just coming. Rap was getting really big. Like New Edition. They had four, almost 5 years where rap wasn't really doing nothing. They had R&B. When we come out, rap
Oh
is
yeah.
on the top of the charts.
Oh, West Coast,
So
especially
I think that was a change
yeah.
too.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
Chronic.
think that was a bit of a change for us too. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I,
Couldn't do nothing
I
about it.
yeah, I wasn't a big I wasn't a big fan of the first single, Sweet November. Good song, but I didn't
Uh-huh.
think it should have been the first single. I think something a lot more up tempo. I can't remember right now, but I think people say it's a beautiful song. I said, yeah, it is a beautiful song, but it didn't capture the essence of Troop, which was, you know, big dance tracks, big dance routines, and then
Uh-huh.
yeah. So
Uh-huh.
whose decision was it when it came to picking this lead single and the how you guys started?
Well, actually, Whatever It Takes was the first thing off that album. Whatever It Takes came out first. Then Sweet November came out. And once again, it was just going through it, man. It was almost like this. This is my opinion. This is my version. It was almost like we had our time. Now it's time to go. It was time to go find other avenues. Maybe another record company. Maybe another management. It was just time. We had our time, and it wasn't that long. But the time we had, we did it. We did a good impression, man. We had a bad impression on that stage, which means good. We did a very good impression of getting down and showing people a new style of dancing and singing, hairstyles, all this crazy stuff. We had our time, but it was just at the time just not getting along with management really good, and Atlantic Records didn't want us to go find a new manager at the time. They didn't want that. So because they didn't want that, now that had a little twist in it with us and them too. And it just all came together like it wasn't together like it was. Excuse me, it wasn't together. It wasn't solid anymore. I just think that's where it all started changing, man, right there. With the decision of putting whatever it takes out first, I never understood that. I never got that. But I think it was more like, oh well, we had our time with them now. We don't have to invest $1 million in them anymore. We just put something out really quick. And the reason why Sweet November came out only because Babyface produced it. So that had a little heavy weight to it. So that's the reason why Sweet November was out so quick. But Babyface produced it, man, and that was our last number one song right there. And I
Mm.
think Atlantic Records knew they knew that that was going to go down like that. So that's why Sweet November came out so quick, man, because Babyface had something to do with it.
Yeah, it
It was just
absolutely.
time for us to go, bro. It was time.
But now, for those who are watching, you might wonder what he talked about with management, because you went from David Cook to Busted. So this was MC Hammer's and his brother's management company. Were they the ones who took over your management at the depot, or was it?
I mean, the way I look at it is like, well, I felt like nobody took, we almost didn't have no manager, honestly, honestly. But yes, they took it over, but was nothing, when nothing took over. Nothing was, it was nothing. It was nothing. It wasn't no big promotion. It was nothing, man. It was nothing dealing with that busted thing. I think for an opportunity, I do, and they're nice people and everything, and I respect that. But far as my business and my group, nothing, nothing. That was it. After that, that was basically it.
Yeah, I think so. For those of us who are, as I said, massive fans of Troop, and knowing the style and the energy that you guys brought, it was very disappointing after, as I said, for a lot of New Jack's fans, Deeper is their favorite album. Deeper was the album that's like, okay, it's gonna take you guys to another level. It wasn't
Yeah,
promoted by Atlantic, and talking to John in the past, he spoke about the conflicts between management and the label, and we understand how labels are not to be played with. You can't, unless you're, even Michael Jackson found out when he went after Tony Mottola that, yeah, no matter how big you are, even the biggest can be knocked down. So so we're learning that. I mean, how powerful labels are, and how they can disrail your career, no matter how good an album is. But those are learning experiences. I mean, most artists can learn now, but back then there weren't too many examples for you to follow. And it's easy to say, do you guys regret the decisions you made? Because, well, hindsight is hindsight. You can look back and say, oh man, if we had known, but at the time you wouldn't have done that. Even Jodeci, when they went to Death Row with Suge Knight to manage them, they never came out to something else after the show and the after party. That was
yeah,
it. They might have gone better out of
yeah.
their uptime contract, but they didn't come up with anything anymore because the labels are saying, "Oh, we'll show you who's really in control." Um, I think the sad part for us is the fact that you come up with one of your best albums, and that becomes the end of that becomes sort of the end of Troop as we know it at a time when R&B had a comeback. You had Boys to Men, we had Jodeci, so around that
Hmm.
92,
Yeah.
dominating the charts. So we had the singing groups really, really making a comeback, and we didn't see you guys in that time. Um, After the Deep album, how did you recognize that? Okay, we this might be the beginning of the end.
No, no, no. I didn't feel like that because I felt like once you prove yourself, you always get another chance to prove yourself. I always believed in that. I don't care if it's between 4 years and 20 years. I think you always have a chance to prove yourself again. So I never felt like it was all. I felt like for that moment, what we were doing was over, but I didn't feel like overall the group was just totally done. No shows, no nothing. No, I didn't feel like that, man. I feel like once you prove yourself, you'll get another chance to prove yourself again. You will, and I believe that. I believe that all the way to the day. Yes, I do. That's
Mm.
my belief, though. Somebody else might think different.
Yeah.
That's how I think.
But then, and I've had Dimitri's on the show. Um, really, really amazing guy. But then I think the sole subject becomes you do one of as a the Deep album becoming a masterpiece for music fans, and then we see Troop -2 or -3 in with a new group with a
Yes.
called Little Something Something, and it was like almost like Troop became H-Town overnight, and rebranded and
Yep.
regrouped. I mean, so how did I mean? And this is just 2 years after Deeper, so it's not as if it was a 6 year gap. It, and being
Right.
the founder of the group, I mean, how did you? I wouldn't say did you let things go out of control, but how bad was that whole breakup from Atlantic that it affected the bond of these brothers at that time?
Well, I'll speak for myself again, but I didn't like the situation with Busted. I didn't like it. I didn't like nothing about it. I respect them, and I don't want to act like I'm hating anyone, but I'm going to tell the truth. I didn't like the situation. I didn't like the way they was treating us. Certain members was treated less than other members, and a lot of times they would just the album would just the songs would be done just without some of us on them. The songs will just be done, and it became like, well, okay, well, I ain't going to the studio because I'm not really comfortable. I don't know which direction to go with this whole thing. I'm not comfortable. I'm not really happy. And other members be like, well, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna do this, and I get that, I understand that, and it just came a point to where I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like nothing about Busted. The area, the whole, just every. I didn't like it, so I went home. I left. I went home, man. And I get this that if somebody goes home, more than likely you're going to do an album and finish it. I get that. I'm not. I'm okay with that. But the way it was presented was like the album was going to still be truth. It was not told to. It was not told to me that we're going to do an album with three members. It was never told. It was never ever told until it came out and when I saw it. So I know they had to finish an album. I get that they had to finish, but it just all started getting messed up with just being somewhere where we shouldn't have never been. We
Mm.
shouldn't have never been there, never. And that's why the album was made with three. That's why we went to Busted. That's why it took a long time to come out with different things because we should have never been there. We went somewhere we should have never went, and that's what messed everything up.
Yeah. Um, but and as I said, and I had to always caveat that because we started off by saying you entered a dance competition without your mom auditioned, you sent you for an audition. So this started with just as kids just having fun, and then it- you're in the shock of the music industry, the belly of the music industry, and it it's known for chewing people up, spitting, divide, conquer, and No, none of
Yeah,
us. I'm here. I'm a
yes,
therapist. I'm a therapist. So you know, and so it's a lot different for me. I can analyze and I can reflect, but I know that I do not know what it's like to be on stage in front of 1,000 people. Well, I can singing and people wanting to hear you sing and performing.
yeah,
I do not know what it's like having a number one record, being on a senior hall 7 times, everyone knowing who you are, even Michael Jackson knowing who you guys are. So I don't know what it's like. And I also don't know what it's like from being childhood friends and then being torn apart by a label or management. And so,
yes,
so it's people can reflect the fact that you guys are still touring. Rest in peace to Reggie, but you guys are still touring and doing shows together. Shows that actually you're able to overcome those differences. But was it hard? How hard was it for you as a man, as when your brothers are split like that and the business was chewing something that was created out of created to make a positive impact on the community, but it seemed like it was being ripped apart.
well, it was difficult because I didn't see it coming. Nobody taught me that this might happen, or watch out for this, or watch these signs. If these signs are current, be careful. I didn't know. So when it happened to me, it was all at once. Like it's almost like don't pour water on a drowning man's head.
Mm,
That's how I felt. Like I'm already drowning, man. I'm drowning in this stuff. What the hell is going on? And then you torn apart. Some over here doing albums, some over here trying to find their way. It's like they pour water on a drowning man's head, and it's like I'm not saying they as the group. I'm saying the business.
yeah.
And it was just I had to start swimming, brother. I had to start swimming. I had to start swimming, man.
But in how does yourself, John, and Reggie, how do you guys do you guys talk together and try and console each other, or do you guys all go your separate ways? The three of you who were part of that album.
you know, thank God that the album didn't do anything. So that was a big part of the release. The album didn't do nothing. I think the album didn't even go across the street, man. It didn't. It didn't. So when the album didn't do nothing, it was not a lot to wonder and look. It wasn't nothing to look at. It wasn't nothing, no, it wasn't no videos. It wasn't anything. So it was almost like everybody wasn't doing anything. Almost like even the ones that did the album, it was almost like nobody was doing nothing.
Mm.
So it really wasn't that hard. It was just a little sad that they went and did that. You know, it was a little sad. It was a little. It caught me off guard. But I'm a kind of guy to where I can take a lot of stuff. I can handle the worst that the next man can't. I've always been like that. I've always been. I can handle it.
Mm.
I can handle it. Sometimes when things happen to me, I can handle it. I just got it from God, man. I can handle it. So I didn't
Yeah.
trip that hard. I tripped off the separation of the group. Yes, that terrible, but I just handled it, man. I just did what I needed to do. Reggie's my best friend, so we talked all the time. Matter of fact, we damn near moved in together. Me and Reggie, that was my best pal ever, man. And John would just always come and hang with us. So we just kind of sat back until the other members said we needed to get True back together. And then we was like, yeah, we knew it. We knew it was coming. We knew it. We knew this day was coming. So we just kind of sat back and waited, man, and it happened. It happened like we thought it was because they didn't do nothing with that album. So I don't know, man. We just sit back and was strong and just chill. We chilled out. We didn't make no big fuss over it. You know, we just chilled out. And sometimes when you don't when you don't stay on top of your business, these things can happen.
Yeah.
So I'll take some fault. I'll take some fault for not saying no or what you guys doing. I'll take some fault too. It's not just everybody's fault all the time. It's some of my fault too as well.
Mm.
And once I accepted that, I was good. I was good, man. I was like, okay, my fault. Next time I learn better.
Yeah.
And I was good with it, man. Yeah.
And you guys came back, to do Mayday. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, second, and industry was changing quickly. By 98,
Wow.
hip hop was dominating, East Coast, West Coast, R&B, R&B
Yeah.
artists you used to get a hip hop artist to do to feature. Now you're begging hip hop artists to
Uh-huh.
can we just to sing the hook on your track? Oh, good.
Oh my God.
Can we sing the hook?
It changed on it. Yeah. Can you act? Can we please?
Yeah, 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 yeah. But after
It
Mayday,
changed on it.
it it changed quickly, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But I mean, I guess you guys, I guess you guys were able to, I mean, do Mayday. Did you do the return? Was that this 5 of you as well?
The Mayday?
No, no, no. After Mayday, the return. Well,
Um,
I thought you came out with an album in
um,
2014.
I think that was I think that was like a lot of old songs that we had already recorded.
Okay.
I think it was a couple of news, a couple of songs that kind of was mixed, fresher and newer. It was just a lot of stuff that we had that was put together, and we called it an album.
Okay, like not in a million years.
Um, yeah.
So if we so after you stop making the after you stop making the albums, between before we lost Reggie, what were you guys still going and doing shows, or did you guys separate and have a break like when you got to the 2000s, 2010, 20?
No, we've been doing shows. Excuse me. We've been doing shows ever since. We
Okay.
turned into a show group. That's what we are now. We're a show group, and we've been doing shows for the last, whoa, 28 years, man.
Wow.
27. That's what we've been. That's what we've been doing, and that's what it turned into. That's just what happened. There's no excuse. There's no trying to find out. The truth is, we turned into a performance group. We had no more hits on the radio. We had no more signing to major deals. No more none of that. No more videos. We became a performance group, and that's what we are to today. And it's okay. It's
Mm,
okay, man. There's no complaints from me. That stuff happens, and you deal with it. You accept it. Once you accept it, it's okay. A
mm,
lot of people can't accept when their careers change. It bothers them, and it doesn't bother me like that. And some people think that I'm crazy because they act like I don't care, but it's not that. It's not that. It keeps a lot of stress off me, man. It keeps a lot of my mental. It keeps a lot of that away. That bad
mm.
mental. I want to be normal.
Yeah.
I like being a normal guy, bro. I don't care about what I had. The four number one songs. I want to be normal, man, because life is normal.
Yeah.
You get perks to life, but life is normal. The real life is normal, man. It's not always touring. It's not always having thousands and millions of dollars. Life is normal. Walking down the street,
Yeah.
just living in a nice little small spot sometimes, just eating regular food. Life is normal, man. And I try to make it like that all the time for myself.
Yeah. I mean, we can't end but talk about your best friend, um, Reggie, who sadly passed away in during COVID in 2021. Um, what definitely. I mean, what could you say about Reggie for those of us who didn't know him personally, but knew him as one of them, as Troop.
Reggie Warren, my best pal ever, 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 ever. All the guy wanted to do was have a good time, dance really hard, all the energy in the world he had. He didn't want no conflict. He didn't want to argue. He didn't want people doing mean things. He didn't like it. He didn't like that stuff, man. And I think when Troop started going through the industry problems,
Mm,
I think it bothered Reggie really bad, man. But that the group wasn't as tight as we used to be. I think that messed Reggie up really bad because he's not like that. He don't have too many bad bones in his body, man. He just didn't. He just didn't. He did some things where he hurt himself. He did personal stuff that he hurt himself, but he wouldn't do nothing to hurt nobody else, man. He would not. He just didn't have it in him. So the people that don't know Reggie, he was the most kindest, funniest, energy, outgoing person that you probably would ever meet.
mm,
You'll probably meet him and judge him wrong and say that. You'll probably say he's weird because you don't understand him, because you don't get it. You'll probably say he's weird. He's not weird. He was living a normal life. He was living a regular life.
mhm.
That's
Yeah.
what Reggie did. He lived normal, regular life. That's what all Reggie did. Normal life. Yep.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it took us by it took us by surprise when he did pass, but then that was COVID time, and a lot of us lost a lot of family members, parents,
Right.
around that time. Um, how hard was it for you and the group, especially, when you guys are, you know, the five finger glove to have, one of the pillars pass?
Wow. Something definitely left and never came back. Something never came back. Truth. That energy. When you met Troop, you got to deal with Reggie. So it was some personality you're gonna have to deal with. You're gonna have to deal with him when you meet Troop. Those are gone. That part of the meeting Troop and dealing with Reggie and his crazy butt and his energy, those never came back, man. So we had to deal with that. We had to, which, like I said, we always deal with anything. Troop have always dealt with whatever we had to. We just went on and made it. We never replaced him. We never replaced him. We always had a now we got a 4 member group, and
Mm,
we just had to make it happen like that. Just make it happen, man. It's like what else can you do, bro? You could be
yeah.
sad, you
Mm,
could be really down, you could be hurt. But when it comes to saying you got to keep going, you got to just keep doing it. You got to just keep doing it. And now we got a new format. Now the format doesn't go around Reggie anymore. Now it's around the four. It was very hard to do that. Very hard. Like I said, that was my best friend.
mm,
Me and Reggie was the only two original members from putting on the hits. Me and
mm.
Reggie was the only two original members. So it killed me, man. It killed me. I was very sad, man. My buddy, my
Wow.
best pal ever on earth was Reggie Warren. It tore me apart, but a lot of times I heard in my head, he would say, "Keep going, Rod. Keep going, Rod. I'm all right." I'm like, "What the?" I'm like, "For real?" He go, "Just keep going, man. It's okay." And that helped me. That helped me because, like I told you, I can take things. I can just do it, no matter what it is. I can take pain. I can take bad news. I can take stuff. So when Reggie would say, "Just go ahead, you'll be all right," I just went on and what he told me to do. What I heard from
Mm,
the universe. I heard him say, "Go on, Rodney, go
mm.
on." And I just went on, bro. I just went on because I heard Reggie tell me that too many times.
Wow.
That's how I got through it.
Wow. Um, I think one of the things that rest in peace to Reggie Warren, passed away in March of 2021. I think one of
Mm.
the things when you guys started is that you guys had the energy. You did the amazing move when it's the snake, the backflips and everything. As you get older, it doesn't become it's the difference between yourself and New Edition is New Edition can still do their 1, 2 steps, because they they didn't really go crazy. How hard is it now for you guys to say, oh my goodness, can we start to do the spread my wings moves like we did 30 years
Oh,
ago?
oh, oh. Oh, okay. Good one. Pretty good. You're pretty good, man. All right. Well, the dancing is natural. The movement is you're not going to move like that all your life. We get that. It slows down. It slows down. You change 1 or 2 steps here. I'm not going to be doing a backflip anymore. That's not going to happen. We probably not going to be doing the flips anymore. We just change up, but we still dance. We still dance. We do more dancing than steps still. But
Okay.
it slows down, but we still dance, man. We still dance.
Okay. Okay. So, what can people expect from Troop, 2025 going into 2026, and where should we look out for you guys?
I think I think you guys should look out for growth mentally, happiness within
Mhm.
within you. Um, we already stood the test of time, so can't nobody question us on that, man. Not that, but just personal things. Understanding what's next in your life and what's to come for you, and how could you bring that together and still make it all make sense? Because we all individuals, man. Like right now, I'm working on my own album, man, right now, and I love it. I love
Okay.
what I'm doing. I
Is this
love
the first time
it. Yeah,
you decided
I'm
to,
doing it.
how,
Yes,
okay.
yep, first
What,
time.
okay. Why did it take so long, and what was inspiration to do it now?
Because I didn't have a urge to do it. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. And then as the years went by, I started writing. I started writing, and I started writing some pretty good songs, man. I was like, whoa, hold on here. And I'm not saying it because me. I'm not saying it because I think it. I'm saying it because people will say, "Man, you write. I don't care. You write good songs." So I start writing good songs, and I start singing them, and I got like 3 or 4 that's really, 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 really good. And I just
Mm,
said, I can maybe do this myself now. A little more confident,
okay.
a little more where I have to do it. I'm kind of pushed in the back now. You got to do something. You got to do your own thing. And it just turned into where John had did his album, Steve
Mm.
did album, Alan did album. They all did album. I never did, so it's time now. It's time. You'll hear some stuff pretty soon. I promise you, man. You'll hear some stuff pretty soon. It's really good, man.
When's the release date? When do we expect to see it?
Well, I know by the summer. I don't know exactly the date yet because I'm still
Okay.
working. I got a team behind me, and my team likes me. I have a team that believes in me. So actually, right now we're talking about dates, days, times. We're putting it all together now, so I can't say exactly what date, but
Yeah.
the summer, I'm pretty sure you'll hear my first single. It's
Okay.
called it's called Ride With Me, produced by Hit Boy. I don't know if you ever
What?
heard of Hit Boy. He's a big producer.
Not the hit boy that's with
Well,
Nas.
yeah, that's my sister's son.
You kidding me?
That's my
Wow.
nephew. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he did my first single called Ride With Me. He did the first single. So I'm gonna be all right, man. I'm gonna be all right a little bit here. We're gonna see how it turn out, see how it
Okay.
goes. Soon, next month.
Okay, so at
Yep.
least this interview was to get the history of Troop from the founder. Um, when when
Hmm.
you're ready to push out the music in the summer, we'll do this again so that we can focus on promoting your independent your new record new album and stuff. So
Hmm.
we'll be able to do this again in the summer and just focus on the music that you're coming out with.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And what I'll do for you, well, thank you for allowing me to come on here. What I do, I'm gonna give it a guy, and even before it come out, I'm gonna just let you hear some stuff. You'll have it before anybody else, but you'll have
Okay.
it before it comes out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that for sure for you, man. I promise. I promise. I'll
Y-
do that.
Yeah, definitely. And then when you when once you're about to release, we'll go back on. We'll come back on and talk about it, and I can give you my thoughts, and we can talk about it. And by that time, you're ready to stream it and release everything, so people know where to download it and buy it and stuff. So definitely,
Yeah. Yep.
definitely.
Yeah. 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 Yes. I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But Ronnie, just before we leave, I always ask my guests. Um, And the question is that if you were stuck in an elevator and you had time to waste and you could watch your favorite movie, what's your favorite movie?
Oh, that's a good one, bro. The five heartbeats.
Okay. I can see how it mirrors a part of your journey. I can see how it mirrors your journey. It's definitely it's definitely a real good
Yes,
movie. Yeah. It's definitely a
yes.
classic. It's definitely a
That's what I would watch. That's what I would watch on my iPad and my phone. I would watch the five heartbeats. Yes, I would, man.
Oh goodness. And then
Yep.
the final question is always of any artist, what is your all-time favorite song?
That's pretty good. So artists are just one artist or what?
Yeah, yeah. Like most of us have our favorite song. Mine is Michael Jackson, "The Lady in My Life." So it's like if you have that one song, like this is my song, all-time favorite jam. I love many songs, but this would be the top of the pile. Would it be for you?
Dang, that's crazy because it's like so many, but I don't know. I might have to say it's like between Tony Braxton and Tevin Campbell, honestly. It's between them.
Oh,
I
which
like
song?
Michael Jackson there. I love all the songs. But if you give me one song, man, see, that's not fair. All right.
Okay, okay. With both Tony and Kevin, which of the two songs would you get from which song would you get from each of them?
Well, I like Ready by Tevin Campbell. I'm
Oh, I'm
ready.
ready. Okay.
I love that song, man. I think it's the most awesomest song. And then Tony Braxton's what's the name of it? Love song, one love song, rocking
Oh,
my brain
oh
like
yeah, another sad love
crazy.
song. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those are my favorite songs, man. I just like them. I could play
Yeah.
them all day,
Yeah.
every day. I could play them two songs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
that'll
No,
be it
that's
for me, man.
definitely, definitely. And then we talked about Troop. You guys have come up with well, at least four albums that you've been involved in. What are your what if we were to put an ultimate Troop album together with your favorite Troop songs from your catalog? What are the eight songs that would make that ultimate Troop album from the eight?
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to really go here. I'm gonna have Audacity on there. Um, Spread My Wings. Yes. All I Do. Yes. Um, I'm gonna have to say For You.
Okay.
I love For You, man. Never got anything For You. Personally, I like Sweet November because Babyface. I'm gonna throw that in there.
I could tell.
Okay. He said I could tell. Okay, then um, I like um what's the one on the Rome is still in love, still in love.
Okay.
Gotta be on there. I will always love you. Gotta get on there. What's that, seven? What's that, seven or six?
Yeah, that's six, yeah. So you got two more.
Okay, okay, okay. And love only you. Um, only you off the Mayday album. And then my last one, I have to be fair and give it a Mama Sita was our first one. I gotta put that back on there, man. That
Okay.
representative that representative first, man. I can't leave that out. So Mama Sita, those are my eight songs, man.
That's it. That'll definitely be a great album. I would say when
Uh
Mamacita came out, at the time I was going to boarding school in Nigeria, and it was a major hit internationally. So when I just, even in across in Africa and Nigeria, Mamacita was, because we didn't know what Mamacita was, it just felt like, what is this word? And then, as I said, it was just like, and these guys are dancing and singing. It's like it made a big mark. So that you guys don't realize globally how well that first single was received.
okay.
So yeah, you guys definitely made your mark.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. But hey, that was Joe Levert. He knew what he was doing, man. He knew what he was doing on that song. Thank
yeah,
God for that.
and I didn't know because when I was interviewing Mark Gordon, he says, "Yeah, we did Mama Cedar for Troop." I said, "What? You guys did Mama Cedar for Troop?" He said, "Yeah, we just had tracks and we just gave them out." I'm like, "Wow." And you
Yeah.
guys pulled it off with the whole dance moves and stuff. It was like, yeah, we were like, who? As I said, I always say the Troop were dancers who could sing. And that's a compliment to the
Yeah.
fact that you guys put the performance first, and then the song and the singing was still on the same level, and not
Yeah.
there was no. I don't know if you remember DOA Allen,
Um,
bass player.
sounds familiar, but I can't say. He's what?
He's the bass player. DOA Allen, DOA.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's a producer. Yeah, he's a producer. Chucky's best friend. He's a bass player, and he was when you guys did your went on tour for your first album, and I asked him, because he's produced, he's performed, he's done the Heartbreak, and he did your um first out tour,
Oh, Derek.
DOA. Derek Allen, yeah, Derek Allen.
Yeah, okay, Derek. Yes, 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 yes,
Yeah,
yes.
bass, yeah, on a bass. And I said, he
Yep,
says the best tour he had ever been on. And you remember he went on Ribbon Nation. He was on when Ribbon
yep,
Nation. He was touring with Bobby on the Don't Be Cruel stuff. He did College Girl
yep,
for Bobby. He says the best tour he ever did was with Troop. He says that
yep.
you
He
had the
did.
most fun. He didn't get paid a lot of money, but it was the most fun. And that you guys, because there was, you guys were the hardest workers. He just said how much you guys worked hard, and were, he rated you guys. And I said, what's the difference between you guys and New Edition? He says, New Edition were tight with their steps, but you guys were just just hard workers and really dedicated to the craft. So, yeah, it was definitely interesting just to understand your legacy. It's unfortunate that in the 90s when R&B was really at its forefront, that you guys weren't there to
Uh-huh.
really take your place. But
Yeah,
nonetheless, those of us who were around in the 80s still appreciate the work that you guys did. So definitely looking
yeah,
forward
yeah,
to celebrating your debut album after almost 30 years plus in the industry. And I appreciate the time you took
yeah,
tonight to talk about the group you created and the legacy it has in the
yeah.
music industry.
Yes, it does. That's why I don't complain because you can never take away what happened. All the number one songs and all the tours, and you can't take them away. So I don't
Yeah,
complain, man. That's already in scene. It's done.
yeah.
So I'm good, bro.
Is that
I'm good.
okay? Well, I look forward to us connecting in the summer to help promote your new single and album, and so we'll be in touch just to keep those channels open. But I definitely thank you, Rodney,
Okay.
for taking the time to talk to us, and yeah, definitely look forward to having you back in the summer.
Appreciate, and you will see me again. You're going to see my face again. I promise you. So just get ready. Get ready, young man. I'll be back. I'll be back, man.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. Thanks, Rodney. Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, buddy.
You take care.
All right.
Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of.
And somewhere in between us, or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No. Okay.
They don't understand what those boys and men all
Lay it.
these guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.